Hi everyone, ciao a tutte, sono Chiara Barbieri, I'm a geneticist and I'm very happy to be here to answer some of your questions about genes and languages. Are there similarities between genes and languages and how to explain them? So one way is to look at the diversity profiles of populations and compare the diversity profiles of genes and languages. When people are genetically related to each other, they probably speak languages that are similar to each other. How does this happen? Is because people share the same history and they pass their genes and their languages to the next generations. Now, the more the time goes by, the more the genes slowly change and they are not identical to the genes of our ancestors, the same way we do not speak an identical language to the language of our ancestors. And if two groups of people, if two populations split apart, and if the time goes by, they will slowly start to differentiate both genetically and linguistically. And this is how, in a way, languages can differentiate from each other from a common shared origin. So genes might play a role, but it's very difficult to prove. In this type of tasks or performances, there might be some genetic influence, but it's very difficult to disentangle from the influence of the environment or the society or the influence that we grow up with. So is someone very good at learning and speaking languages because of a genetic predisposition, or because this person has been exposed to languages, many languages very early in life, or because this person has a curiosity or some innate interest in learning languages, or because this person has been under pressure to learn languages in their life. Very difficult to break apart the effects that we are exposed to where we live and the effects of genetics. Some challenging parts of my work. Well, certainly one of them is about writing grants, writing project applications that will be rejected by the funding agency, but this is not special about my work. This is a bit common for everyone in academia. So something more characteristic about my work, because I work between disciplines and my work is multidisciplinary, I talk to people from different backgrounds, I need to find a common ground and a common language. I need to be very clear about explaining particular aspects of my results and of my discipline. And I need to be very clear also with myself about which parts are particularly interesting and relevant, how to explain my methods and my results and make them relevant also for the other people that work with me. Genes influence the way that we speak. Not directly, unless we are talking about speech impairments, and this has, of course, some genetic basis. But there are some maybe predispositions to the way that we speak that are partially encoded in our genes. As a base, we know that every human being can learn every language in the world that they are exposed to in the first years of their life. So every human has a vocal apparatus to speak every language possible, but there might be little genetic differences between people that might influence the way that we speak. Some people say that, for example, our ability to make the sound R has some genetic basis, but some other people would say that everyone with training can be able eventually to produce the sound R. If I ever found something particularly unexpected or exciting during my research, so nothing too crazy, I would say. Sometimes I found some genetic profiles that were previously not described before, and this was interesting, but it's something maybe a bit technical again that excites the geneticists. But in general, when you look at the genetic profile of some people and you look at the genetic history of these people and of their ancestors, sometimes you realize that nobody else before looked at this particular piece of history with this tool of the genetic analysis before. This is very exciting because it's like opening a new angle about human history that nobody ever looked at before. So I think this is particularly exciting about my work, and when the first time I screen new genetic data, new genetic results, I think that is a new piece of history that we are adding to the general history of humans, and I wonder what the people that participated to these studies will think about these results, if they're gonna find something new and interesting as well. I hope you found these stories about genes and languages interesting, and let us know if you have more questions. Ciao ciao, alla prossima!